Welcome to Networking Arizona with host Carol Blonder. You'll hear interviews with businesses located throughout the valley. Networking, it makes a difference.
If I traded it all.
Welcome back. This is a great day today. I mean, it was crazy out there on the road. So I don't know how crazy it is. I didn't hear the news. So if it's still out there crazy, be careful. I'm very excited about bringing on my next guest because he can help people that might have been in an accident and other things. But right now I have Kevin Garrison. He's the owner of Garrison Law Firm. And welcome to the show. I want you to tell everybody a little bit about you. You, before you came on, you told me that 2 people today were killed in Arizona. Welcome to the show.
Well, thanks, Carol. That's kind of a depressing statistic, and I don't want to start off in a depressing manner, but accidents are very commonplace. And the last statistics that came out in 2014 for the state of Arizona do indicate that we lose about 2 people a day to car accidents, and that about once every 10 minutes somebody is hurt. So your listeners are probably familiar with that. Unfortunately, it's probably touched their lives. A friend, a family member, someone they know has very likely been in a car accident.
Now, I also want to get out right now because we're talking cars. And yes, everybody out there knows that it's awful out there. And we all know there's a ton of, I don't know what it is about Arizona and the drivers here, but there's a lot of accidents a lot of times. I think they speed. But it's not just for what you do. I want to get out, too, that it's not just cars. An accident can happen in any way. I mean, you can get slip, you can fall, you could have something where you go somewhere and eat something and it made you sick. I mean, there's a lot of different ways that you can help them, and I want you to talk about that.
Precisely. Yes, thanks, Carol. My job is to help people that have been hurt, to try to put them back where they were before this event, to right a wrong, if you will. But it might be somebody that's hurt in a store. It might be a medical negligence case. I think we're going to talk a little bit later this afternoon about nursing home cases, people that are in assisted living or nursing homes that have poor care, that may be neglected. So just about any spectrum that you can imagine of how somebody is hurt when it is someone else's fault.
Well, you can help anyone, basically, from anywhere in Arizona. Where are you located?
My office is on Thunderbird Road, right off the 101, so 79th Avenue and Thunderbird. Very convenient to get to either from the 101 or from Thunderbird Road. I'm in the Northwest Valley, but again, as you said, I will travel anywhere in the state. If somebody has a case and it's important for them to call me, I'll go see them.
It's all about the case.
Well, yes.
It is, because, you have to have a case. Not everybody has a case, and that's the reason why you do free consultations.
Of course.
Right. And you have to talk to him. I mean, it could be that you have a case. You don't know. You have to find out. And what's good about you is that, sometimes you have an accident and you think it's something that's not really that bad, but then after the accident, there's more pain involved or something could happen. And you really need to find out and talk to an attorney. He does free consultations. He has over 25 years of experience doing this. His website is GarrisonLawFirm.com, and it's Garrison with 2 R's.
Correct.
And his phone number, write it down. It may not be now, but it may be. You could be out there in an accident right now. 623-915-1100. So you became this attorney for what reason?
Well, it's a very simple answer. I like to help people. That's as true today as it was the day that I entered law school. I have a desire to help people. There is no better feeling in the world than being able to right a wrong that somebody has. There is no better feeling in the world than to see justice prevail. And that never gets old. So that's why I do it.
Now, why should someone hire an attorney?
Well, a real simple answer, particularly in these types of cases, is it's free. But more than that, Carol, it's free to get an advocate for you. It's free to get somebody who is a trained professional who will analyze the facts, who will speak to you, who will, if necessary, coordinate things that will make life better. In other words, coordinate rental cars, coordinate medical care, coordinate all of those things. And it's not going to cost the consumer a dime. If we don't get something for that person, we don't get a fee. So where else can you do that? In other words, where else can you get a professional to go to work for you for free?
It absolutely makes sense. You should never do anything like this on your own. A lot of people think, and we used to call them ambulance tracers, but it's really not about that. I know a lot of people who, not here in this state, but in another state, that do what you do, and it's amazing how really from the heart heart you really come from.
Well, thank you. I like to think that most of us do, but I am also here to say that we're human. There are good attorneys, there are bad attorneys. I like to think of myself as one of the good ones, and I like to think of my colleagues here in Phoenix as people that are good and caring and kind.
So your phone number is 623-915-1100. It's garrisonlawfirm.com. He does free consultations. He's got over 25 years of experience. It may be now. It may be another time that you might need this. So write the number down. It's all about that. And even if it's someone that you know, because everybody knows somebody that's been hurt or whatever, and tell them about it, because it's important that they do have it. It's free. Like you said, it is free for you to get representation. What are you seeing as in trends? And this is kind of an interesting question because I'm surprised by it. As there's a trend in personal injury cases. What are the trends?
Well, sure. Thank you. And it goes a little bit to the question that we just discussed, which is why should you hire an attorney? What I am seeing and have seen over the course of the last 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years is that insurance companies are getting extremely difficult to deal with. They are fighting tooth and nail on the smallest of things. So whereas before, several years ago, we could resolve a case with a few phone calls and maybe a friendly discussion, that doesn't happen anymore. They are really exploiting the people that have been hurt. They are holding them down. They are offering ridiculous offers for people that are legitimately hurt. And so they are making it harder than ever for people that are injured to have success. So I don't know exactly what's behind it. I have my thoughts and my ideas. That's probably the whole topic of another show. But very clearly we are seeing that insurance companies are becoming much, much more difficult to deal with.
Yes. So what is your advice then regarding auto insurance?
Well, that is a little bit of a different angle here. What I wanted to speak to there is to let people here in Arizona know, and maybe they've already been the unfortunate victim of this, that statistics indicate about 20% or 1 out of 5 people here in Arizona are driving around without any auto insurance. That's not a problem until that person hits you. And then it becomes a problem if you don't have your own what's called uninsured motorist coverage. It's available. Any insurance company out there can sell it to you. Unfortunately, there's less agents these days. A lot of it is internet. A lot of it is phone. And so it's not like the old days where you sat down, you spoke with an agent, they gave you good information and good advice, and you got the coverages that you need. So if you're in a situation where somebody that hits you has no insurance, you're probably out of luck. So you can protect yourself by getting uninsured motorist coverage. It really doesn't cost that much, and it just kind of is that extra
It's almost the
safety.
most important thing you should do, and yet some people don't do that because of the money. They would, but it's not really that much more money.
Absolutely, and too late when it's after the fact. You've got to do this stuff before the event happens. It's too late when it's after the fact.
Okay, we only have a couple of minutes, so I want to get this going here on this part of it. Should somebody talk to an insurance company on their own?
I would strongly suggest no.
No.
What I tell all of my clients is if you have spoke to them and you've told them the truth, great, fine, so be it. However, the insurance company is never your friend. And let me repeat that. The insurance company is never your friend. So they're looking to try to get information they will later on use against you. There's no benefit for you giving them a statement to provide information to them. It's not going to help you.
What is your case worth? What's someone that has a case? What's it worth, and how long do they have to bring that to a claim in?
It's a question that we get asked all the time. The one thing that I will tell you is if any attorney right off the bat tries to tell you what your claim is worth, run from them. It is impossible to determine the value of a claim until everything is done. And so the value of a claim is really like baking a cake. There's several ingredients. Some of the ingredients are the amount of your medical expenses, the way the injuries have impacted your life. Did you lose time from work? So it's fairly complicated. I can arrive at it by the experience that I've had, but it involves a lot of factors. And so it's really hard to say, and no two cases are the same.
How long do they have to do it, though?
Well, Each case has its own time frame. Generally in Arizona, an auto case or a negligence case is a 2-year time frame.
His phone number, write it down. It's 623-915-1100. The website is garrisonlawfirm.com. He does free consultation, and he has over 25 years of experience.
If I traded it all, if
Welcome
I
back.
gave it all.
We are going to talk again with Kevin Garrison of Garrison Law Firm. We were talking a little bit about, obviously, PI work that you do, but now you have something else that you also do, and it's so prevalent, which is nursing home abuse. Let's talk about, I've always wanted to talk about that on this show, and I don't think I really have, actually, in the years that I've been doing this. Let's talk a bit about what that is.
Well, thank you, Carol. Yeah, these are the saddest of the cases that we see. These are our mothers, our fathers, our loved ones who are elderly. They are in assisted living or a nursing home, and they are not properly cared for. And as a consequence, they are injured, either perhaps by a fall, breaking a hip. What I see a lot is bed sores, and it is more prevalent than we would think. It is prevalent in Arizona because we have an older population, but they are some of the saddest cases that we see.
Now, what qualifies as neglect?
Well, neglect is what you might think of. It's just simply failure to provide basic services for shelter or health or sometimes medical care. So in the context of somebody that is required to care for you, they don't care for you properly. They don't give you the right amount of food. They don't properly bathe you. They don't properly clean you. They don't properly supervise you. That's essentially what neglect is in this setting.
Wow. And again, let's say somebody, it doesn't matter where they are here in Arizona, if they're having that kind of an issue, a lot of people probably don't know what to do with that. I mean, because they come in, I'm imagining this, that they're thinking that they put their parents in the best place that they could have possibly been at, and they see something wrong. I'm not sure if the first reaction would be, it depends on the person, I guess, that would be like, I got to get my guy out of here, whatever, my dad out of here. Or is it, I don't know what to do, I don't know what to say. What do you find?
It runs the whole gamut. And oftentimes the person that is in the facility is afraid to report something because they are afraid that if they do need to stay there, there will be retaliation. And that certainly makes sense. The family members oftentimes are somewhat stymied by maybe mom or dad is on Medicare or All-Tex, and it's not as easy as you might think just to switch facility to facility. So oftentimes they're kind of stuck. There is, of course, the opportunity to report the event or the abuse to the people there at the facility. Also, there's the Arizona State Long-Term Care. They have a ombudsman. So there's options, but again, sometimes people are not aware of them, or sometimes they're a little bit overwhelmed by the situation.
Now, his phone number, and I know I hate to think about it happening, but it does. You even said there was a case, I think it was today, maybe today that you had talked about that?
There was an article in the paper that said in Arizona there's a 19% rise on exploitation and abuse of older folks, and I don't know exactly all the answers. We can talk a little bit about some of the factors that may give rise to this, but yes, it is on the rise, and it's a sad thing to hear about, or certainly a sad thing to see.
That's why we need to have this information that we have here on this show, and it's something that you can write down, put down his number. Maybe you are dealing with something like that now. Give him a call. He does a free consultation, and you'll know he can help you with that. 25 years of experience, and his website is garrisonlawfirm.com. His phone number is 623-915-1100. Okay, so people that go there to these places, is there something that they should look for? How could they tell if they go in there? Can they tell? Or is there something they should see signs?
Not always. And I will tell you, there are very good facilities and there are very bad facilities. There are surveys, of course, that are available through the Arizona Long-Term Care that you can get on the internet and check that out. But it is difficult to tell. Now, what would be a factor? What would be something that might trigger you to think something's wrong with mom or dad? Sudden change in how they behave, sudden change in the circumstances,
Just like your child.
Sure, of course. One of the things that I have seen far too often that is very, very difficult is bed sores. And oftentimes, people that are in the facility will have medical gowns on or pajamas or something. And it's not customary for you or anybody else when you're going to see their parent to say, hey, Mom, I want to look at your backside. Or, hey, Dad, can I look at your, your heels or your buttocks or whatever. But that is something that is...
So they
there.
should be.
Well,
How do you do that? How do you come in and say that to your mom or dad? I mean, unless they don't know and they're not aware, I couldn't imagine my dad saying, sure. You know what I mean? Unless I would be hurting or something.
Well, the real sin here is that the facilities have an obligation to make it known. They have an obligation to make it known to the patient and the patient's family. But again, it's kind of like catching the thief. In other words, the thief doesn't want to come up and confess that they've stole something. Likewise, these facilities oftentimes try to let it go unnoticed. Oftentimes, even though there is federal regulations and requirements to report this, they don't. They hope to sweep it under the rug. They hope maybe somebody will be discharged.
Right. There are a lot of places out here, especially that, and we're not saying in any way, and I'm going to bet this out right now, that there are bad ones. There are good and bad in everything.
Of course.
So, again, I want the information out there. I think it's wonderful that we have people like you that can help with this because, we are trusting. We're handing over our loved ones to someone that we're expecting that are going to take care of them just like you would. And believe me, it ain't easy just for someone you love to do it when you don't even have anything with them. Sometimes it could be even harder.
Well, Carol, what I have seen is the individual caregivers are generally good people, caring people, nice people. They want to help. They went into that profession for that particular reason. The problem that we have is that it is big business. A lot of these folks own chains, several of them. They're making lots and lots and lots of money. And the way they make lots and lots and lots of money is by understaffing, by not properly training people. So it's not generally the individual caregivers that are bad people. It's a systemic problem.
Sure. His number is 623-915-1100. GarrisonLawFirm.com. He does free consultations. What rights do nursing home residents have?
Well, that's a good question. And again, many of these facilities are regulated if they receive Medicare funding. So there are federal regulations that govern what rights individuals have. It's basic stuff. It's the right to proper medical care. It's the right to be heard. It's the right to have dignity. It's the right to have, if there is a change in their condition, it properly reported to their physician. It's the right to adequate communication with staff. So there are plenty of rights, and there ought to be. Again, these are the vulnerable people in our society. These are the folks that, oftentimes have sacrificed and now are in a place where they need care.
Just out of curiosity, there's people that obviously have more beds than others. Is it just for the person that's out there? Because there's a lot of us out there that have older parents that are in that position where they might have to put them in a home. Is it better to maybe go with a smaller facility?
I don't know if there is any particular correlation between the size of the facility given the quality of care. Okay. Again, it is, you see everything from A to Z. Some very good ones that are very large, some very good ones that are small, some bad ones that are large. So it's difficult. It is very, very difficult. I would think that that type of decision, go visit, ask a lot of questions. And then again, certainly there's research and information through the internet to Google these facilities and see what sort of complaints have been levied in the past.
So give a case. Give what's a good case.
Well, none of them are good.
Well,
because
I meant that. I'm sorry, that sounded terrible. I didn't mean like that.
No, I understand what you're saying. We see far, far too often bed sores. The reality of it is, and the medical science is, that when somebody comes into a facility, they should never get a bed sore. Now, there may be a rare exception where their medical condition is so complicated, but the reality is, nobody should get that if they're being properly cared for. More than that, if you do get one, it can be reversed. There are stages to bed sores. They go 1, 2, 3, and 4, 1 being the least severe and 4 being incredibly severe, where it's down to the bone, It's a matter of debriding tissue and surgeries and wound vacs and things like that. So that is something that with proper care should never happen to an individual in one of these facilities.
So that would be one of the first signs that you could really look for, and you have to go into your parents and sort of talk to them. What happens if they don't know, they would not know the difference?
Well, a lot of times if mom or dad are coherent enough to explain, they're going to tell you, it hurts, I have pain, and then there can be a follow-up. Unfortunately, some of these situations, mom or dad may not be very coherent, or maybe they're medicated a little bit too much. So again, the facility is supposed to bring this to the family's attention. They don't always do so.
I wonder why. His number is 623-915-1100. The website is garrisonlawfirm.com. He does free consultations, again, 623-915-1100.